Cody Roulette coming back at you with another Earth Machine regional top back to back because I did Winnipeg, got second place a couple months back. The regional in Regina on the 18th of March just passed. That's one I got first place in. So I guess since this is the most recent regional since I played last time, it's back to back with Earth Machines. If you like some spicy rogue stuff, I got you. It's my favorite deck. I've been playing it a while, and if you remember my last deck profile, I referenced an FTK, but also that if I played a second Gustav, it was much simpler to do the FTK. I decided to go all in, commit to that. I did go for the FTK about 6 times. I got it off twice because every other time they had Nibiru, and one time they had Ash that stopped a really important Machina deployment. But otherwise, Earth Machines. To do the FTK this time around, you actually need to play the gear frame. So if you remember my last deck profile, I wasn't playing gear frame. I was going heavy on Metal Cruncher to abuse the Vernisylphs. I'm still playing Vernisylphs, pretty heavy line still. But now, if you open a way to get to gear frame and any of the Vernisylph tutors, you have the FTK. And I'll go into how to do the combo later. Again, Regina regionals, small turnout, but like I played strictly meta. So like when you're playing a smaller event, you kind of expect to play a couple of rounds of Rogue, and then you start seeing the optimal built meta decks. But I got that from first round on. Like I started the tournament playing against Runix, and I played mostly Kashtira. So a couple rounds of Cash, a couple of Runix, and like I think one Sword Soul, but like the Sword Soul deck was doing well too. So like I don't know. But it's not like I can even say anything because I'm playing like, you know, a tier 4 strategy here. So I can't criticize a Sword Soul deck. Yeah. So again, this stuff's really important now. You play the one gear, or you play the 3 gear frames, and the 2 unclassed bars might seem kind of wonky, but again, I was very fixated on doing the FTK line, and if you dedicate, you know, 39 cards to do the FTK, but it all falls apart when you draw an unclassed bar, I was just going to play a second one. Plus, I play Small World, and I can turn unclassed bar into any other combo piece with Small World. So like it seemed kind of subpar still. I hate the theory of having to play multiples of Garnets to like facilitate engines, but at the same time with the Vernisylphs you can go like unclassed bar, pitch Metal Cruncher by normal summoning it. You don't have to do the special summon search part, and then use a Vernisylph to bring back Metal Cruncher and then proceed to combo that way. So like it's like more of a soft Garnet. Next, the Infinite Track line. So the difference from before is that I'm playing less copies of Dozer and less copies of Trencher. I slimmed the deck down because before I was playing like 50 plus cards. Now I'm down to 44. I could easily make this 40, but playing 44 made it so I didn't have to disrupt too many engine requirements to siding. That might not be correct. I think it might be optimal to just play 40 still, but the 44 let me side a specific way, and you'll see right away because I'm playing some monsters main board that's a little wonky. But the 3 Harvester is still very important for lines that involve Metal Cruncher, even though you're only playing 1. Redeployment lines will sometimes require Metal Cruncher plus Fortress to do certain lines to get Earth Machines going, but otherwise there's nothing really too finicky. I used to play multiples of Brutal Dozer and Trencher to do full combo through like awkward disruptions, like tier elements milling you and whatnot. So the current main deck disruption is like them hitting Diablosis or whatever, and like the Kashtira lines that mill stuff out of your deck. You don't want to lose these cards, but what I found was there was like no coming back anyways. If the Kashtira player just full committed and just killed you anyways, the only saving grace, like anytime the Kashtira had like a playable hand, which is like 99% of the time anyways, is if you had Nib. So like I just wasn't hedging my bets to having Nib to like not just auto lose. So I figured I'd make the deck more streamlined and optimal for when I can play Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. Anchor Drill isn't necessary, but again, this deck isn't strictly just an Earth Machine FTK deck. You do need Anchor Drill for certain lines. I wasn't playing Dingirsu this time around, which Anchor Drill is like mainly used for, but it helps breaking boards because you can do, if you ever have like Brutal Dozer, you can go Anchor Drill, bait out a negate, and then Brutal Dozer, bait out another negate, and then still make a rank 9, which happens to be more than 3,000. A lot of decks can't handle that. Now we're going to go for the non-themed Earth Machines that are necessary. I'm playing 2 Flying Pegasus this time. He is incredibly good with Vernisylphs, and you need one in deck for the FTK, but otherwise you could get away with playing 1. I enjoyed being able to use him just as like a follow-up. Like, you can start your FTK with the Flying Stampede, and then if your opponent disrupts the FTK, like they nib you later on in the combo, which did happen quite frequently, you'll have 1 in deck still for River Stormer to search. And then the rest of these guys. Dare Crane, not essential, and neither is Bullet Train, neither is essential, but these are just cards to help you break boards. So the most important thing about these guys is they let you break boards with just Harvester, because people never expect you to just raw dog Zeus. But having said that, you'll see right away why that wasn't necessarily a play in this deck, because I made a huge deck list error going into this event. King Regulus, he's really good, but quite often you never want to actually draw him. Your hands usually have to commit really hard to get a machine in the graveyard, and if that's the case, then you don't want to draw it to try to insulate a play after you've already committed. It just doesn't make sense. So you just search it as part of the FTK, or just like, you almost always River Stormer it anyways, so yeah, that's what normally happens. Okay, so I got the Mother Duck, the Girl, Sleepy Bear, and Winnie the Pooh. This is the updated Vernisylph ratios. It makes sense to just max out on the tutors, because again, any of these plus a way to get the gear frame is full FTK, and you do need one of this to exist for the FTK, but you don't need this. This guy is more so just an alternate search target if you ever draw various, or like multiple varied copies of the Vernisylphs. You could get away with cutting this, but this deck plays real nice with Vernisylphs, so having an extra Vernisylph doesn't feel bad ever. Now this is where the deck gets a little bit weird. I was playing 3 different Kaijus, so the theory went in that I was almost never reliably seeing disruption that actually was impactful. Now, like, Ash Blossom does a lot against a lot of the meta, but doesn't do anything to Kashtira, and it's kind of subpar against like different sprite builds, because like that deck has so many alternative ways of doing the same searching anyways, that I wanted to play Kaijus, and I also wanted a good small world bridge, because Kamungus is awkwardly like the only way to get to a specific Vernisylph into gear frame. But I decided to go from 3 Kamungus to 1 of each of these, not because I care about like their specific stats or anything, but because this let me side Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which I didn't actually get to test much, and I don't know if that's correct, but I think the theory of maining the 3 Kaijus, because I was going to anyways, and then siding 3 Slumber is correct. I'm going to continue doing that. And then the spells that go into the deck. 3 redeployment, 3 heavy forward, 3 small world, 3 urgent schedule. No traps, 12 spells. As you can tell, I'm not playing Ash Blossom, not playing Nibiru, anything like that. Nibiru seemed to only be good into cash boards when they went first, and I opened Nibiru, which, like, play the odds. Realistically, I didn't think I was going to play so many Kashtira matchups, and if I could know, you know, ahead of time that I was going to play mostly Kashtira all day, I would have made Nibiru. But yeah, it wasn't even so much that Nibiru is so good in that matchup, because everyone says, oh, well, Kashtira just plays around at game 2 and 3. That didn't happen. I played against, because I played 2 regionals, I played against like 6 different Kashtira decks, and every single one of them went hard into Nib, and they tried to go 5-zone lock every single game. So not once did they ever respect me possibly having Nib. So yeah, I lost to, I wasn't playing Earth Machines the Sunday regionals, but like Kashtira was just like so oppressive and I still played Nib on Sunday, and I still lost to mostly Cash. Like, my only losses this weekend were to Cash Tier, to give you an example. Yeah, so what do you need to know about this? Maximizing on consistency here. The one thing that makes Earth Machine so good is it's redundant. Everything here searches or gets you another Earth Machine monster in some way, right? Like Metal Cruncher gets you more, Machina Gear Frame gets you more, this summons more Earth Machines, this summons from Graveyard, this searches Earth Machines, this gets you Earth Machines, this summons Earth Machines, this gets you Earth Machines. This is just a payoff, right? And like you have to realize when you're playing a deck that is nothing but tutors and searches, that if you're knowledgeable on how to play through certain awkward game states, you should be able to search for the answer you need. And that was kind of why I played this deck still. Yeah, the small world I wasn't playing before. This is to get you to another half of your FTK, because any part of your deck can search the other half through small world lines. So yeah, get you to the FTK. Urza's Schedule, dedicated going second card. This was my option instead of playing something like Book of Eclipse or Ash Blossom. If I'm going to play a going second card, I'm going to play Urgent Schedule, because I feel like outside of getting blown up by like Floodgates or something degenerate, I can use Urgent Schedule to get me to the resources I need to break their board, as opposed to, well, hope a hand trap gets me there. Let's go extra deck. 3 Goliath, pretty standard if you're familiar with Earth Machine. Combo lines, you need 3 if you want the 1 card, draw 5 without it being disruptive to your grind. Ancient Gear Ballista, Asa, Nightmare Phoenix, and Doubleheader. So this theory with Asa was that, oh, I'll steal a Fenrir and plus off of it. Problem was, I'm playing Zeus sleeves. If you see them, they look pretty. I actually forgot to put Zeus in my extra deck. That's going to sound so stupid, but I built this deck and submitted my deck list without getting any sleep on the weekend. So it's a poor excuse for me just not playing Zeus. And I will tell you right now that Zeus is far and above the most important extra deck monster here, because I need Zeus to break boards almost every time I'm going second. So I was playing with a handicap all day, and I feel really stupid, and I still got first somehow. So I don't know. But yeah, imagine this was Zeus. That's basically it. Now the exceeds. Okay. So we got Gear Gigant X, staple, necessary. Riverstormer, staple, necessary. Gaia Dragon, not necessary. And if you were to swap this for a double of anything to play through Cash-Tier Interruption, then that would be a smart take. And if you told me that was correct, I probably wouldn't be able to argue with you. My opinion of a lot of like trying to insulate through Cash-Tier Disruption was, if the Cash-Tier player was like comboing off and disrupting your extra deck, they were probably going to disrupt your extra deck and your main deck so much that it didn't matter. So I just wanted to play, or set myself up to play with such an optimal setup minus the disrupted game states. Because like if I'm losing a bunch of my extra deck and main deck, then I'm probably losing that match anyways, or that game regardless, and I'll just prep for the next game. Earth Slicer, staple if you're playing Anchor Drill. Dora, again, great if you're not going to FTK, you need it. Yeah, Gustav. So again, you need 2 Gustavs for the FTK line. It's super basic. I will explain it to you and let you practice it if you ever want to play this stuff online. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, again, swap this with Zeus, because that's what it's supposed to be. And yeah, side deck. So everyone knows Ash is broken against the decks that it's broken against, like obviously Branded. I've always kind of felt that my deck kind of goes toe-to-toe with Branded pretty well, just because I can just gas. I can just like out-gas the Branded player. And like the Branded deck has a lot of awkward disruption, but like so does mine. So like the decks are kind of similar in what they're trying to do, but I have the added benefit of they don't know how to beat me, but I know how to beat them. So it's like an art of war thing. Like if I know them better and they know me, then how can they beat me? That's basically like this whole gimmick. If this deck was like a tier 1 strategy, then it would be a lot worse. Not for any reason, but because people know what the deck does. DD Crow. So you can pick your poison, Ghost Bell, whatever else. I was picking DD Crow because it does double duty against like Math Mechs, Dark World randomly if I saw any of those weird rogue strategies that relied on the graveyard. But the important thing was I wanted to stop the gimmick puppet setup that Branded were doing. So this is primarily for the Branded matchup, which I expected a lot of, and I played almost all cash, so this felt pretty bad. Anti-magic arrows. So this was like my cute tech of dealing with backer decks. I actually completely cut evenly in cosmics and everything, and I was putting all of my hopes and dreams on anti-magic arrows. I saw this once against a backer deck against Runix, and he used that freaking Runic card that banishes from your hand randomly. So he hit this in 1 of 5 or 1 of 6. So he RNG'd this out of my hand, and I lost that game. Or no, did I lose a game? I don't even remember. I feel like I think I may have lost like 1 game against Runix and then it was all cash. Kaiju Slumber. So you guys saw I was playing the 3 different Kaiju's main board. I wanted to main Kaiju's anyways, and then siding like some kind of non-targeting just removal spell, and Slumber seemed to just fit the bill perfectly. I was gonna side the Kaiju's anyways, so why not play this? It gets you a level 10 machine, so you can combo with the Yugioh. You remove this stuff. Obviously this loses to Ash, but like everything loses to Ash. So is Book of Eclipse, which I wish I was playing. And Skill Drain. This is the only card I side in going first, and the theory is if I do the FTK and it gets disrupted, like they nib me, I just set Skill Drain and pass. That happened literally against a cash player. He nibbed my combo, but the nib token was, gosh, like 7,500, 6k, something like that. Like a huge nib token, because again, all my combo pieces are huge. I was like, okay, well, darn, can't kill you. Set Skill Drain. And then he had to deal with a giant monster that was also insulated with the Skill Drain, and then he just lost. So yeah, that's that was the deck profile. I will quickly go over the combo lines now. That is, so let's just say one of these random things. I'm not going to show you all the example hands because small world makes it awkward, but just assume. So say we have these guys, right? Let's see if I can do this upside down. Actually, just humor me. I'll do it the right side up, okay? We go normal gear frame. Grab unclass bar. Unclass bar will trigger when it's added from deck to hand. Can summon it, locks into machines. His effect, dump a Machina. So in this situation, we dump the Citadel. You might be asking why I don't play Ruin Force, even though you can still summon Ruin Forces under the Vernisylph restriction. It wasn't necessary. Like, I didn't want the Ruin Force ever exist in any of my hands or game states where I was already kind of struggling to put things together. But he's so good when you've already established something. Let's go the gear Gigant X, detach for gear, to search. So this is where the Flying Pegasus is very important. If you're not familiar with Flying Pegasus, I'm about to do it right now. So again, Vernisylphs, if you're unfamiliar with Vernisylphs, you discard them and another monster to do X thing, and then Monster Reborn in Earth, but you're locked into Earth effects for the rest of the turn. So in this situation, we're pitching these two, and then we are going to search. So it doesn't matter which one you start with, duck or girl, but if you start with girl, you search duck, duck, search girl, either way. So let's assume we're starting with the girl here. We pitch the girl and the Pegasus. Oh, that glare is annoying. Okay. And then, so we search the duck. Bring back Flying Pegasus. Flying Pegasus effect, bring back Citadel. Flying Pegasus, do the level modulate. He can copy the level of something or make the other machine become his level. So we're going to copy 10. Gustav Max. Detach. Doesn't matter who you detach here. And then we overlay. Or we don't overlay, rather. We make a Link 2. Ancient Gear Ballista. On Ballista summon, he searches for an Ancient Gear card, which our favorite Ancient Gear brick, Ancient Gear box. Box will trigger, getting us our favorite Trencher. So here, you might see where I'm going with this. We're going to pitch box and the Vernisylph duck. So duck searches us any Earth Fairy. We're going to search the Foolish Burial Bear. Foolish Burial Bear, and then resolve the duck completely. Summon back Gustav. So we have Gustav now. We do Foolish Burial Bear, pitching Trencher. dump the Harvester from our deck, resolving Foolish Burial Bear, bring back Citadel. So now our board is we have Citadel, Gustav, which is live to be activated but no materials, and Ballista. We use the graveyard effect of Trencher, banish, summon Harvester. Harvester effect. Harvester on summon can search for a infinite track. So we search good old Brutal Dozer. And this guy's level modulating is a little bit different than Flying Pegasus. This guy's level modulating is you target another machine, they become their combined totals. So for example, if I targeted Citadel right now, they'd both become 12 since 2 plus 10, right? Next, so we have this in hand. We're going to tribute for Brutal Dozer. Brutal Dozer effect. Again, locks us into Earth Machines now, but we're going to summon Tunneler from our deck. So we have a full board, 5 monsters right now, right? This is our graveyard. We go Overlay. We're looking for a rank 5 now. River Stormer, Detach, Effect Add. So this is where we're going to bring old Starlight Boy, Regulus. Let's turn River Stormer into the themed Link 1. Again, Goliath, all you need is just a non-Link Infinite Track. And then we summon Regulus. Make sure you target Gearframe here. It's important that you target Gearframe, the Union. Next, we use Harvester. Target Regulus to level modulate. So they both become 10. 2 and 8 makes 10, obviously. Gearframe to unattach. So you see Gearframes over here. We're still at 5 in the main monster zones, 1 in the extra. And we link. So we know this guy's 10 now because we level modulated. So we make our second Gustav here. So remember, we already pinged for 2k earlier in the combo. So we detach the Citadel, ping for another 2k. So we're at 4 now. We link these two for Angry Knuckle. Angry Knuckle is going to be summoned, but Goliath is sent from field to grave, so Goliath's going to trigger, going on the unused but 0 material Gustav. Gustav, we're at 6k now. And then we send this to grave for Anger Knuckle to bring back Citadel. This is in grave. We use the graveyard effect of Tunneler. If you're unfamiliar with Tunneler, it's like a pot of avarice for Earth Machines. So the only important thing that matters is we send Gustav back, and it just doesn't matter. 5 whatever machines. Put those back. This goes back an extra. And remember, we level modulated the Regulus with the Harvest earlier, so he's 10 and 10. Boom. And boom. That's 8k. So I did try to do that, I think, at least once every match in Regina. And I only successfully pulled it off twice. But I did do it at the very last game of the tournament. My opponent beat me game 2, and then game 3 I went first, and then I start comboing, and I told him, like, I don't know if you have hand traps, you don't have to tell me, but we'll see what happens. And I start comboing off, and then I think by the second or third Gustav, he kind of got the idea what I was doing. I was like, it's time. You don't get another turn. Yeah, so again, Earth Machines, one of the funnest decks you will ever play. I just showed you how to FTK people if you want to do that online and ruin someone's day. I basically had that idea going into regionals, and yeah, any shout outs I'd like to make, the Winnipeg crew, obviously, you know, Jordan, Nick, Curtis, because for some reason Curtis always plays me in regionals and I always sack him. Yeah, he was one of the guys I FTK. That feeling when you FTK one of your friends that you drove to the city with. Yeah, I kind of regret not playing this in the tournament the next day, but I played Evil Eye and got 10th, so it feels bad. If you guys want me to do an Evil Eye deck profile for the 10th place Winnipeg Regionals, I can probably do that too. But either way, yeah, I don't have anything crazy or wacky to say. If you have any questions for what or why, or if specific ratio things, I'll probably be checking out the comments for next week or so and see if anyone's got any questions. Yeah, so hopefully you guys learned something new with Earth Machines. Yeah, first place, that's pretty good. Yeah, y'all be good.